Wikipedia was a bit of an accident, and I'm certainly not expecting everyone at this talk to get into Wikipedia. But we've got a lovely little part of an entry in Wikipedia, which is part of the Second Life entry, which is great because, as you know, Second Life is so popular that lots of people are going to look it up on Wikipedia. But it just so happens that for the last 3 years, we've been running the annual Second Life Languages Conference in Second Life. It's a conference for language educators using Second Life. And there's an entry on it. There's an entry on the conference as part of the Second Life entry in Wikipedia. And that goes through to the conference website, which also has my logos on it and is also linked to my company website. This was purely accidental. I guess I could have gone along and added it myself, but I think it's a little sad if you go along and add your own entries to Wikipedia. So someone else did it. Someone else added that, and that's great. Again, a little bit of exposure. And also, as some of you may know, I think I'm fairly active in Second Life in all sorts of ways, but in some ways which are special for educators is providing free land and free spaces for people to try out Second Life. Providing a set of free teaching tools that I've developed, providing a free seminar series that happens once a month, and the Second Life Languages Conference that happens once a year, which if you're interested in and you're working in Second Life, please take a look at the website after this talk. It's at slanguages.net. So basically, I'm going to stop in a second and open it up for chat and things and questions. But basically what I'm saying is that it's really not enough now to sit down with old school marketing techniques like a static website, maybe a printed brochure or whatever. That you've got to be heard, you've got to be visible. You've got to be very visible online, and you've got to be visible in a contributory way. I think you have to be contributing to, thank you Nergis, you have to be contributing to the group knowledge of whatever networks you belong to. And so blogs, Twitter, that kind of thing, engaging with communities, engaging in forums and that kind of thing, that's modern marketing. It's not putting posters up on walls anymore. It's being part of communities where people value you, value your contributions, they trust you. So rather like on eBay, if you buy something on eBay, you look at the reviews of the person who's selling it. It's a trusted reputation system, and I think the way to get exposure these days, the way to market yourself, is to be very, very visible in all sorts of media, and also to have a trusted reputation, which I think is developed over time. So that's it really. I'm going to stop and just open it up for questions and anything else you might want to say, questions or comments. So thank you while I blathered on, and please feel free to take the floor and say hello, ask away.
Thanks ever so much, Gavin. Since we have a bit of a lag with the voice, I'm not sure whether that's still the case or whether it's resolved itself, who knows. But people can click on Start the Broadcasting. We can do up to 6 webcams here. If 6 is then filled, some might have to go off so that others can go on stage. But feel free to switch on your webcams and your sound and talk to Gavin, because this is what this environment is for. Doesn't matter, Pete. As long as you have a headset, microphone, then click on Start Broadcasting and you can talk to Pete.
Actually, yes. Just give me a second and I'll find an address for you. Okay.
If you feel comfortable asking questions to Gavin in the text, don't worry. Then just go ahead and text him. Yeah.
You can find the whole talk there as a video, and I'm sure it's very easy for you to download. If you actually want the full slides, then just send me an email, and you're welcome to them. See, not only do I give away my marketing techniques, I give away my presentation as well.
Well, the funny thing is that when I talk to somebody else, and sorry, I talk to somebody else in face-to-face, so there's no Google alert for you, Gavin, there. I talked to somebody else about this great talk and said, oh, isn't that fantastic, and I learned so much, and I really liked it. And isn't it amazing that Gavin opens up his marketing box, yeah, the Pandora box, normally it is, yeah. And then the other person said, well, if Gavin is opening this up, he must have something else in his sleeve pocket. Oh, that was, whew. So the question to you, Gavin, do you have anything else in your sleeve pocket?
Sure, but I'm not telling you about it now.
Okay, there you go.
One of my jobs within the company is to keep up with what technologies are coming out and which ones we think are going to be the most used or the most popular. And so I'm lucky enough to be able to spend some of my working time researching, looking at tools, figuring out hopefully what's going to be big. And so I think there are a few things coming along, but that's where I stop opening up my marketing box and revealing things, because otherwise everyone will be ahead of the game, and I'll just be sitting there wondering why I gave it all away. But I think, the point, you can see these things. If you look around, if you're a member of online communities, you see what people are talking about. The only thing then is deciding which ones you think are going to work or not. I mean, I think Twitter seems to me so obvious that I can't believe that some people don't get it. Second Life I also think is obvious, but I understand why lots of people don't get it, because it's much more complicated and things. But yes, I've got a few things up my sleeve.
Very nice. Because you're a pioneer and a trendsetter, so we'll look out for when you come up with these new things, and we'll all jump to it. Because we follow you on Twitter, and so we are the first ones to hear, actually.
I was just looking in the text chat that Pete's got a question there about virtual marketing, marketing to avatars. I think, at the moment there's probably not enough of a critical mass in Second Life in any particular area to justify spending too much time on thinking about marketing. Have I lost? Can you still hear me? Because I can't. Because you've turned your microphone off. Okay. I don't think there's enough critical mass in Second Life to justify spending a lot of time. Okay, Brian, thanks for coming. Advertising to avatars. But, I think there will come a time. My only comment would be that it will be done better by individuals than it's been done by organizations. Because organizations generally don't understand the sort of the culture of Second Life. And a classic example of that, I think, would probably be Nissan. When Nissan moved into Second Life, they built a big island with a huge vending machine on it where you could pick up a free Nissan Second Life car and drive it around their island. And the island was always empty, of course, because it's like going into a shop that's only selling one thing and not seeing anyone there or no smiling faces or anything. You're not going to stay. And I remember reading a blog entry by a guy who was comparing the Nissan island with an individual in Second Life who also makes cars in Second Life. And his blog title was, "Would you buy a used car from this vending machine?" And he was basically saying that the large corporations just don't understand the culture in Second Life. They build something and they think that's good enough. Whereas the small entrepreneurs, they build their cars and then they hang around. So when people come along and say, "Oh, I'm thinking of buying one of your cars," they can tell them something about it. They can maybe offer them a different color car and things like that. So I think, Language Lab, I don't know if you've read my blog posting on Language Lab, but, I think Language Lab are doomed because they have a totally unfeasible business model, and they're just not going to survive. And, I know things are not going well financially right at the moment, but it's only going to get worse. So frankly, I think advertising in World's probably the last of their problems. But the answer to your question is, I don't think it's worth spending too much time at the moment.